Friendly reminder, if you are a part of the LGBTQ plus IA community,
All right, let's see it.
Jesus Christ is not asking you to force yourself into a proper relationship with another human being. He instead is asking you to end your improper relationships and begin a genuine relationship with Him.
Just a friendly reminder that there is no such request made by Jesus anywhere at all in the Bible. The notion that the Bible makes such a request of followers of Jesus is something that can only be negotiated from the text, because the text has a lot of different things to say. And the folks who assert that this request is being made by Jesus in the Bible actually ignore most of what Jesus says in the Bible, because those are things that are not a part of the negotiated requests or messages of Jesus. Because when it comes to marriage, the clearest and most consistent message from Jesus in the New Testament is his demand that men not divorce their wives for any reason other than sexual immorality. Otherwise, they still remain married, and if the husband or the wife marries anyone else, they're now committing adultery. And that is widely ignored by Christians today. And we have inconsistent messages about marriage as well, because in Matthew, the author seems to take a rather ascetic view and has Jesus say that the most pious, the most faithful, will become eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of God. In other words, it means either that they will castrate themselves, which is what it means to make oneself a eunuch if you're using it literally, or they will just live a celibate life, which very few Christians believe they are called to do today. And we even have that same message on the part of Paul. Now, we can socially and historically situate these messages, and the folks who want to negotiate these things right out of the text will do that. They will acknowledge that this is a brand of asceticism that was popular in the Greco-Roman period and in the early centuries of the Christian church, because there was heavy influence from certain Greek philosophical schools that understood all sexual desire to be one of the baser urges of the flesh, which we were trying to overcome anyway. And so why not just try to overcome those urges and live a celibate lifestyle while we're here? That seems to be what Paul is urging Christians to do. That seems to be what even Jesus in Matthew 19 is urging Christians to do. That's a part of the sexual ethic of Jesus in the New Testament that is overwhelmingly ignored by Christians today. They've negotiated that completely out of the text because they're not living in first century CE Greco-Roman world. The social and historical circumstances that gave rise to those ideologies are no longer relevant. But when it comes to things like homosexuality, they don't want to acknowledge the socially and historically contingent nature of those prejudices. They did not understand what was going on with homosexuality in the first century CE. We have a far better understanding today. We know there's nothing wrong with it. We know that it is not harmful. But because it has become a central identity marker for a lot of conservative Christians and a means of credibility enhancing displays, that's what this content creator's video is. It's a way to try to enhance their credibility with other members of similar social identities who see it as costly signaling, see it as incurring costs to put their fidelity and their piety on display. So the other members of the same social identities will think, wow, they're particularly faithful. They're willing to toe the line of the mores of those social identities. That's what's going on here, and that is the reason that people continue to endorse these outdated, these ignorant, and these bigoted ideologies. Jesus says absolutely no such thing anywhere in the New Testament. That is these folks saying those things and then trying to leverage the authority of Jesus Christ to endorse and authorize their own bigotry. That's all it is. It's just bigotry that has become an identity marker for groups that are trying to structure values and power and boundaries in ways that serve their interests. And it is overwhelmingly serving the interests of right-wing authoritarian and social dominance orientation groups. And it needs to stop. And it can stop whenever enough of us decide that the well-being, the mental health, the lives of men, women, and children all around the world matter more then the value of that identity marker to our own identity politics. It's just a question of when enough of us grow the hell up. And the fit for this video has been the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man.